Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're going to go ahead and learn how to build a simple RAG application, RAG graph application using Neo4j and LangChain, right? So we're going to take a CSV file, right, a comma separated value file. You're going to be using the Northwind data set. You're going to take that CSV file. It's a bunch of CSV files. We're going to do a bit of pre-processing on them, combining different data frames. After doing the pre-process, you're going to write Cypher code to insert this data into a knowledge graph. Basically, we're going to be using Neo4j as our knowledge graph. After inserting the data into our knowledge graph, we can then build a RAG application on top of that, right? So that's basically what we're going to be covering in this video. So I posted a simple demo of the application in the some couple of weeks back, and some of you have requested for that I actually do a full walkthrough of how to build the application. So this is the video for that. Okay, so yeah, let's jump into some. Just for those of you who have watched the video, congrats for you guys. If you are good for you guys, you don't have to watch the few minutes of this the next few minutes. You can just skip the next few minutes because I'm just gonna go ahead and insert the same video so that those guys who haven't watched can get. Hello guys, just wanted to do a quick video to let you know what project I'm currently working on. So I'm currently working with Cypher. So I got really recently I've been playing with this. Let me just show what I've been playing with. I think it's right here. So yeah, not this one, right? This one right here. So is a LLM graph builder for Neo4j from Neo4j. So I basically use this to build. You can basically upload a file, upload a website, and then you can basically generate a graph database based on the content that is inside of that that document or what that web page or whatever our AWS3 bucket or anything like that. You can just upload it in right here, pass in your open API keys, click on generate graph, you pass in your different keys, and then from there you're going to go, it's going to go ahead and generate for you a schema, and the schema is going to be used to generate a database and then stored inside of your Neo4j database, right? So this is all done by AI. You can see using OpenAI GPT 3.5 Turbo. So this is all awesome. I've been playing around with this and I was like, nah, I really wish I build this myself, right? Sometimes you just have to get in there. I was working on this project and I had to get in there and build things myself. So I decided to go back to the basics, right? So I've been doing Cypher for a while, but I've kind of like not stayed. I haven't been using Cypher in the recent days. So I went back, did a quick brush on my Cypher skills, and then from there I began to build this. So I basically use Pandas to load in the data frame, and I got the data from GitHub, from this GitHub link right here, from this one right here. So I basically got the data from this repository online, and I'm gonna link this repository if you guys want to get access to it. So once I got the CSV files, I downloaded all the CSV files and I had them stored inside of my local computer. So I have different information such as the category, the customers, data sets, the employees, the orders, the order details, the product, the shippers, and all that, right? So I went ahead, used Pandas, reading this data, did some data pre-processing, dropped the columns that I didn't need, and combined the different tables I needed to create a bigger data set or bigger data frame. And then from that data frame, I was able to connect to my Neo4j instance, the free instance I'm using. And then from there, I just made sure the connection was up, and then I wrote some Cypher code. Basically, write some Cypher code that's gonna insert a different product. So this case, this one inserts the product, the categories of the product, the suppliers, and then finally create a relation between these entities. So basically all these nodes, you can think of it. So I have all that done, and I have all the information right here. So if I scroll all to the bottom, so you can see I have information about my different products. So I have 77 products, and that's the amount of products inside of that CSV files you download from GitHub. So if I open up on this, and the data set about the Northwind products. So I don't know what data set is that. Today is my first time coming across it, but it sounded a bit interesting, so I decided to work with it, and this is what I've been able to build. So you can see the different products. This is a product right here, the product information. This product has been ordered, or basically these are orders. You can see these are orders, and this order included this product, right? So you can see that we have the categories. So this product is part of this category, and you also have the different suppliers, which is right here. So you can see it's a supplier, and that this product was supplied by this guy right here, and this is the information of the supplier and all that, right? So that's basically what I did, and I went ahead and built basically the graph database at the different categories. If you can expand this to see the different categories, the product that belong to that category, and also have the different information about the supplier. So if I hover on this, to expand this, you can see this is suppliers right here, how many products this supplier supplied, and all that, right? So once I had that, I've inside the products, the products, the suppliers, and the categories, I went ahead and worked with the other data set that I have. So I read in the different orders, the order details, combine them, the customers, the suppliers, employees, and I combined them all into, I basically merged them into one data frame. And after merging them into one data frame using Pandas, I dropped the necessary column. You can see we have some NA values right here, so I replace some of them with unknown. Like you can see right here, it shows unknown, so previously it was showing here. So you can see it's showing unknown right here because some of them were having NaN values. So I just replaced them with unknown, did some data cleaning, and then from there I went ahead and combined all the remaining ones, change the data types, and then do different kind of data pre-processing stuff, just typical Pandas stuff. And then from there I wrote another cipher code to insert this into my my graph database again. So I created employees and entity and node. It has all this. You can see this is a label right here. It has all these properties, and then I basically ran it again. So connect to my MongoDB, create a session, run that, and then insert that all the different stuff into my database. So that's basically what I did. And yeah, that's basically, you can see I wrote all this cipher from scratch. I didn't get it from anywhere else. I wrote it from scratch. So once I run that and the information got inserted, this is the information right here. So if I select everything, this is going to take a bit of time to load, but you can see it right here. Yeah, so if I undo that, you can see this how it looks like, and then we just zoom in a bit, so it looks like this. Then you can also go ahead and view the relationships. We're going to show the relation between the different categories, customers, and all that. So you can see it right here, right? So you can see the different information right here. So you can see all that has been stored inside of my graph database right here, right? So that's basically using Neo4j and Cypher. So once I also have the different employee details right here. If I expand this, I should show. Okay, so you can see this is an employee detail right here. This is this employee and this amount of products that the orders that this employee processed and all that information. So yeah, you also have the customer details. So if I expand. Okay, so now you have seen how the application works and what you're basically aiming to build, right? So let's jump into it. So the first thing, this is a simple overview of whatever we're going to be doing, right? So we have a bunch of CSV files. We're going to do some pre-processing of the CSV file using Pandas, okay? So once we produce some pre-processing, we're going to go ahead and connect to our Neo4j database, insert the data, write some cipher code to insert the data into our knowledge graph, and then execute the cipher to actually do the insertion of the data or the ingestion of the data, it's called. After that, you're going to go ahead and examine the data, right? That's what we're going to be doing for this video. In the next video, that's we're going to go ahead and actually build the RAG application. So for this part of the series, it's going to be just data ingestion into a knowledge graph. So taking a CSV file, doing some pre-processing of the CSV file, writing some cipher code, and then executing the cipher code to insert the data into a knowledge graph, right? That's what we're going to be doing in this video. In the upcoming video, we're going to go ahead and learn how to build a RAG application on top of this knowledge graph that you're going to create in this video. Okay, so that's basically a project overview. So the thing that we'll be covering in this video is the project overview, which you've already looked at. You're going to go ahead and install the dependencies. You're going to read CSV files, match the different data frames or different tables, load in our secret keys, connect to our Neo4j, and then we write some cipher code, execute the cipher code, inspect the inserted data into our knowledge graph, how is the data properly inserted, and doing all those little inspections. And then that's all for this video. The next video, we're going to go ahead and build the actual RAG application on top of this knowledge graph. Okay, so let's get into it. So I've looked at the project overview already, which is just this data right there. This is what you're going to be doing in this video. The whole project overview also includes the RAG application, which I'm not going to be doing in this video. We'll cover that in the next video. Okay, so I just did this diagram to show what you'll be doing in this video. So now let's go ahead and see what we need to do. So we need to go ahead and create a project directory. I'm going to call mine Node-win GraphRAG, which I have right here. I have it created right here and have it opened up in Visual Studio Code. Okay, so I did it that so you don't have to watch me do all that. Okay, because I've done that so many times in my other videos. So if you don't know how to do this, you can just watch my other videos. I show how to do all this. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and change the directory into our Node-win underscore graph underscore rag. And then we're going to go ahead and create a Python virtual environment. I've already created a Python virtual environment. This is a Python virtual environment so that you don't have to watch me do all that. Once you create the Python virtual environment, I also went ahead and created a simple folder called code, which has a ingestion.ipynb notebook. And then inside this notebook, make sure you select here, and then you select the Python virtual environment, which is this virtual environment right here. So if you don't do this, then Visual Studio Code won't pick up which environment you're using. So make sure that you click here and then select the environment, which is this one right here. So once that's done, I also have a folder called data, which has all the CSV files from the Node-win data set. And you can find all those files online. After that, we need to go ahead and install this. I'll show you how to get those files. Don't worry. You're going to go ahead and install this dependency. Right? So we're going to install Pandas, Neo4j, Python.env, which it's going to help us to read our environment variables, and then the IPY kernel, which is needed for you to run Jupyter notebooks inside of your VS Code. But if you're using this on Colab, then you don't have to install that. So Pandas help us to read CSV files into Python data frames that we can work with, and then Neo4j help us to connect with our Neo4j graph database, right? Awesome. So once you have these libraries installed, I already went ahead and installed them. You can see everything is installed right here, so you don't have to watch me install all that. Okay, good. So once that's done, let's go ahead and look. Okay, now you need to go ahead and get the data. So where do you get the data from? So to get the data, you can just go online and just search for, I'm going to leave this link in the description of the video below. So if you click on this link right here, it should take you to that page where you can get that data. So if you look at the bottom right here, if I hover on top of it, you can see that link, right? So it's kaggle.com/dataset/cleverrang. Okay, this name is difficult to pronounce, so I'm just going to leave the link in the description of the video where you can find this data set that you're going to be using. So just go ahead and just click on download to download the data set. I think it's going to be in encrypted, zip file. So just extract the zip file and you get these CSV files. So create a folder called data in your project folder, a folder called data, and then paste in all the CSV files as I have right here. So you can see all the CSV files in here, right? Awesome. So good. So once we have that, now let's go ahead and see what's next. So now let's go ahead and read the CSV files into our data frame. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and import a couple of things. So I'm going to go ahead and say import pandas as PD. Sorry, import pandas as PD. So run that. That's going to go ahead and install pandas for us. So I'm just going to close this. I don't want to take the survey. So close this side window as well, so you guys can have a better view of this. I'll just zoom in a bit. Okay, so that's it. So once I have it right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read in the so the first I'm going to read in is a category underscore data frame, and it's going to be equals to pandas.csv data category.csv. Awesome. I'm also going to go ahead and read the following. So product underscore data frame, and it's going to be reading the product data frame, and I'm also going to read the supplier data frame, and it's going to read the supplier data frame as well. So run that, and that's going to, okay, it says that no such file error. So I need to go, I think the path for this is wrong, so I need to go ahead and specify the right path. So I'm going to do // also I have to move two directories back, so data / and then category.csv. So I need to just do // so that you can read that, and then // and then run that. Okay, so let me just go ahead and do this. So data / and you're going to root for the products, and then this is going to be also be, I think it's going to be suppliers, just like this, and then run this. Okay, so now you have that data loaded in. You can go ahead and examine. So you're going to do category, examine the data frame .head, and let's see what we get back. So you just see the first 5 rows of those different categories of products that we have. So we have beverages, we have confections, dairy products, and grains and cereals. Okay, so you can also look at the other data frames if you want. You can also look at the product one if you want to, .head, and then run that. You can see you have the different products right here, and you can also look at the last one. The last one is going to be the I think the supplier. So you can just go ahead and do supplier df and then do the head and it. So just to see the first 5 rows right here, right? Awesome. So that's, you have read that CSV successfully. So what's next that you're going to do? So now you're going to go ahead and combine this data frame. So we have read the CSV files. Now you're going to go ahead and combine this data frame. So the reason I'm combining them is to make that is to enable us to make the process of data ingestion into our graph database much easier. Okay, so that's why I'm combining them. So let me just add in a comment right here. I'm going to say combine data frames right here, combine data frames, and then run that. So that's going to help us to combine different data frames. Awesome. So now I'm going to go ahead and do it right here. So I'm going to say product underscore category. I'm going to combine the product and the category data frame first. So product category data frame is going to be equals to pandas pd.merge. We're going to merge the product and the product data frame and the category data frame on the category ID. The reason I'm using category IDs because if you look here, we have the category ID. So if I scroll all the way right here, okay, so if I think, yeah, category ID is actually right here. So category ID, and also here you have category ID. So that's like a primary key here, and it's a foreign key here. So I'm using that to merge the two tables. So in the categories data frame, that's a primary key, but in the products data frame, that's kind of like a foreign key, right? So I'm using that to merge the two tables into one. So that's a bit of that's the data, bit of back to database class of of primary keys and foreign keys anyway. So yeah, so once I've done now that, I'm just going to view the very first row. Okay, I got an error right here. It says product ID. Okay, it's not actually product ID, it's actually product. Let me just look at it. It's actually here is a product ID, just like this. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that and all the way down here. So if you're using autocomplete GitHub Copilot, sometimes you get this really weird error. So that's basically, so you can see I've combined the two data frames into one. So awesome. So now we have combined the products and the categories. Now I'm going to combine the product, the categories, and the supplier. So we can actually look at the different columns that go to combine. So we do product category data frame dot shape. You can do the shape and see. You can do the shape and see what's the shape of that. So it's 77 rows and 13 different columns. So we can also do the product category and product, and then you can see the columns, and you can see the different columns that we have for it. So you can just run that, and these are different columns: the product ID, the product name, and you're going to use all this to insert data into our knowledge graph. Okay, so now let's go ahead and combine the suppliers table. You can also check for none value if you want. Let's just check for none dot is NA dot sum. So it's checking for sum of any null value. So there are no null values in here. Awesome. So now once we have that done, let's go ahead and also combine. Let's look at the suppliers table. So suppliers df dot head, and I just want to look at the first row, and let's see what we have. So we have this information right here. So what I want to go ahead and do is combine this with our product and category table that we have, okay, or data frame that we have. So to do that is actually fairly simple. To do that, all you have to go ahead and do is the following. So we need to first combine this, right? So you need to go ahead and say product category underscore supplier data frame is going to be equals to pandas dot merge product category data frame with the suppliers data frame on the basis of supplier ID, and you're going to specify a how right here. So let me just break this onto multiple lines, and then we have that right here. So on multiple lines, and also here I can go ahead and specify how, and I'm going to use the how as the left. So I'm going to kind of perform like a left join. So if you ever work with traditional databases, you probably know what a left join is and what a right join is and what all those type of joins, right? So we're doing the same thing right here. So once we have created this join, I'm going to go ahead and do product suppliers data frame, and I'm going to get the head, and let's see just the first one. So we have it right here. So you can also check the shape of this. So the shape, and you can see I have 77 columns and 13 different rows. Okay, awesome. So sorry, 24 different rows and 77 different columns. Sorry, 77 different rows and 24 different columns. Okay, my bad on that. So let's check if you have any null values in here. So I'm going to do product data frame dot is and a. You're going to get a sum of that. Okay, so sum, and let's run this and let's see. So we can see we have some missing values right here. So we need to do some pre-process to clean this data and remove the null value. So we got the null values after joining the suppliers table. So the suppliers table probably had some null value. So let's go ahead and drop those null values to clean up this right here. So let me just add another comment right here. So let's say this will be a B4, just to be so it can be a subset of data importing. So this is going to be drop null values. Okay, so once you have that, what I'm going to go ahead and do it in here, I'm going to say product data frame, this one right here. I'm going to say I'm gonna get the region, because if you look here, you can see we have region. The region has some null values, right? So I'm going to go ahead and simply get the region path. So copy this, paste it right here, and it's gonna be equals to product data frame dot region dot you're not going to fill NA. Instead, you're going to go ahead and replace the NA, not fill. So I'm going to say replace. We're going to go ahead and say replace, basically like this, and you're going to go ahead and specify the field. You pass in a dictionary. You're going to say pd dot, you're going to do pandas dot na. You're going to replace that with unknown. So just like that. So that's basically what you're going to be doing here. So we're going to go into the region column. You're going to go ahead and get the region, replace all the NA values with unknown, the value unknown, right? So we're going to do that, and also let's do that for the other columns as well, as such as the flags and also the home page. So product, I'm going to say, going to go ahead and grab the it's called the fax, yeah, and it's going to be equals to sorry, yeah, it's going to be equals to, you're going to go and get the product category, this one right here, get the fax column, dot replace it with NA. Awesome. So let's do that one more time. But now we're going to do it now for the home page. So we're going to do it for the home page and replace that with NA as well. So yeah, awesome. So once we have that done, let's check if there's any other thing. Now it's only those three, 1, 2, 3, right? The region, the flags, and then the home column. So only those are the ones we're having NA values. So now once we do that, we're going to do product and you're going to check is NA and check if it's some, check if you have any NA value still in there. So home page is okay, let's see. Home page, okay, it's home page. Okay, sometimes GitHub Copilot just really confuses things. So let's run that again. So you can see you have no more null values in here. Awesome. So once we have done that cleaning, now let's go ahead and now let's check the shape will still be the same anyway because we didn't drop anything. So we just I'm going to do shape because we didn't really drop anything. We just replace NA values with null. Okay. So good. So now let's go ahead and now load in our secret value. So we need a couple of things, right? So for you to be able to connect with the knowledge graph, you first need to have a knowledge graph in place, right? So I have a knowledge graph right here, and if you want to go ahead and follow the process of creating a knowledge graph, you can read it through this right here. So you can just go ahead once you have a Neo4j Aura account, Aura. So I hope that's the way it's pronounced. I have an instance already, but you can delete this instance if you want to. But by default, you get one free instance to work with. So I have that free instance already created. I don't want to go through the process of creating it again because it can take a lot of time, and the process is actually very simple. All you have to do is just create a new instance. If you don't have any instance by default and you're not a paid customer, you create try new instance, and that to go ahead and you go ahead and you can just follow the instructions right here and you pass your username. This will create for you. Once you create the new instance right here, you'll be prompted to download the credentials for this instance, and this is going to be stored in a text file. So make sure you download that text file, and inside of that text file you have different information. So just follow the instructions right here. You can pause the screen, you can pause the video, and just follow through these instructions right here. So yeah, so once you have the text file downloaded, which has your credentials, now you're going to go ahead and create basically create a .env file. So let me just minimize this. So you're going to create a .env file right here, which you're going to use to hold all your secrets. And inside of this .env file, you have Neo4j URI, password, and username. So instead of the text file that you download, you'll see the same information. So just copy and paste them in here. Okay. So for me right now, I just have a placeholder for XXXX, but in here you just go ahead and actually add in the credentials from the file that you download. Okay. So let me just go ahead and actually add in my own credentials, and I'll be back recording. Okay, so I've just gone ahead and simply added in my credentials right there. So now let's go back in here, and I'm going to go ahead and create a markdown file, and this is going to be okay. So going to be say load envs, okay, environment variables. So to load the envs, what we're going to go ahead and do is the following. So I'm going to go ahead and say from .env, I'm going to import load env. I'm also going to go ahead and import os, and I'm going to go ahead and do the following. So I'm going to say this I'm in Jupyter Notebook. I'm going to go ahead and use the following syntax right there. So I'm going to use the percentage sign, and I'm going to say load env just like this, and I'm also going to say load env and then run that. So that's going to go ahead and import all my envs, all my environment variables into our Jupyter Notebook environment, okay, basically of our operating system. So I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to create some constant right here, Neo4j underscore URI, and you're going to get the URI. You're also going to get the user, okay, and also going to go ahead and actually get the password. So this is actually a username. I called it username and not user. So username just like that. And let me run that. Okay. So let me just go ahead and make sure that I actually got this right. Okay. I'm not going to print my other credential. So, okay. It seems not to be picking it up. So let me just run this one more time. Okay, it seems to be still picking up the X and Y values I have installed, which I had added previously. So if this happens, the best thing you can easily do is just to restart and then run all your different notebooks again. So let me just do that right here. So I'm going to go ahead and say restart this. I'm going to go ahead and clear all the outputs. Okay, so I'm not going to go ahead and install. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and run all these other processes and then run that. Okay, awesome. Now it's picking up my real values. Also awesome. So now we're ready to go. So now let's go ahead and actually connect to our database. So it's going to be connect to Neo4j, just like that. and we run this right here. So to connect to Neo4j, you have to go ahead and import the Neo4j library that we installed. Remember, we installed this Neo4j library, so we're going to go ahead and import it right here. So I'm going to say from Neo4j, I'm going to go ahead and import graph database just like this, and I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to use the following. So I'm going to say I'm going to create an out value. So I'm going to go ahead and say out, and it's going to be a constant. So I'm going to use all upper cases right there. And I'm going to create a tuple, and I'm going to pass in my username and my Neo4j password, just like that. And once I have that, I'm going to go ahead and run this all. And I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to simply say the following. I'm going to say with graph database, and I'm going to say dot driver, and I'm going to go ahead and pass in our Neo4j URL. So Neo4j URI, and I'm also going to go and pass in our auth value that we just created above here. So auth, just like that. And you're going to go say auth is equals to auth, just like that. So once we have that created, I'm going to give it a name as a driver. So once I have it, I'm going to say driver dot verify connectivity, and then call that. Okay, so once I have that, I'm going to run this. You're just going to verify, make sure that you're creating a connection with our Neo4j instance. So good. So that seems to be working fine. So now the first thing I want to go ahead and do, what you have done so far, let me just go back to this table that we had, this diagram right here. So we had our CSV files, we loaded it, we did some pre-processing, but in this case, you've only used the products, the category, and the supplier. So we are also going to do this for the orders, order details, shippers, and also the employees. But I just want to us to go this route first. So I want us to go this route first, and then later we'll go back to this route. So that you guys, when you're going through this route, you guys already know what you're doing, right? So I just want us to go through this route first. So we have done this already. So now you're going to go, you have done this already. So now you're going to go ahead and write a bunch of cipher. Okay. So to write this bunch of cipher, what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm just going to go ahead and copy the code, and I'll explain to you because it's a bit of text to type out. I don't want you guys to watch me type it all out. So I'm going to drop the link to this this repository on my GitHub so that you guys can have access to it. So let me just refresh this a bit. It seems not to be picking up that. So let me just refresh a bit, and that's going to I'm going to get the code and then simply use that code. So I'm going to go ahead and use this right here. So it's actually a function. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that function, and then go back in here and paste that function in here. So I'll explain to you what we are trying to do exactly in here. So copy this and then move it properly to have it positioned properly, and we avoid any. Let me just okay, let me just keep it that way. So you're actually fine right here. So good. So basically what you're trying to go ahead and do is that, so once we have that position up correctly right here, what we're trying to go ahead and do is that we're going to reach for each of the rows inside of our data set, basically inside of our data frame which you have merged. We are going to go which is this data frame right here, right? For each row inside of that data frame, we're going to go ahead and execute this command. So if you look here closely, for each row we have information such as the product information, such as the product name, the product ID. You also have the suppliers information, you also have the categories information, all in here, right? So we're going to use each row has all these columns, right? So we're going to use that information to create categories, products, and the suppliers for each of those instances or nodes, right? So we're going to go ahead and simply create a product node, and each product is going to have a product ID, a product name, a supplier ID, a category ID, the quantity in stock, the unit price, and all this for each product, right? So if you really don't know what a node is and what all this is, I have a video on introduction to knowledge graph, so you can check that video, and that should give you a better understanding of what you're trying to say in here. But I'm just gonna go over it quickly because this is not an introduction to knowledge graph. So if you want to watch that video, I'm gonna leave the link in the description, or if I remember, I'll keep a card up here so you guys can watch that video, right? So that's basically what we're doing for products, to create a product node, and each product will have all these attributes, right? And also you're going to go ahead and create a category node. So each category is going to have a category ID, a category name, a category description, and a picture. So each category has a picture, but it's really just not big. I prefer that the database uses a URL, but they actually have a kind of like a byte or something in there, or bits or something. Yeah. So if you can look at the data frame and examine that column if you want to. So you're also going to go ahead and create a supplier node. Each supplier is going to have an ID, a supplier name, a company name that the supplier works for, the contact of the supplier, and then the contact detail. So you can see all this right here, all these values. I didn't explain them, but basically these are values from the columns, right, from our data frame, each row of our data frame. So make sure that you have the name that you use here are the columns names from our data frame. So if I look right here, these names right here is what you are using on this endpoint, on this side right here. So product ID, product name, so they're all here, right? So if I scroll all the way up here, you can see product name and the product ID, right? So awesome. So make sure that the names match as in the data frame, right? So that's the suppliers node. And also once we have, we're going to create a relationship. So each product is part of a given category, and each product is supplied by a given supplier. You're going to create that age or that relationship between the different nodes, right? So that age between the different nodes. So each product is part of a given category, and each product is supplied by a given supplier. So I'm trying to create that relation between the different product category and suppliers nodes. So once we have that, let me just run this. And once we have that, once I have run that, now let's go ahead and simply go ahead and create that instance right here. So we just go ahead and do let's write another command right here. So we're going to say with driver dot session, I'm going to go ahead and as session, I'm going to go ahead and say for, I'm just going to ignore this. So I'm not going to use the raw value, but basically for each index or row value, right? So for underscore, just ignoring this. So we're going to get the row. So in product category suppliers dot iter columns, right? We're going to go ahead and get each individual column of our data frame, right? So for each of those columns, you're going to use the session. You're going to go ahead and write a transaction. You're going to go ahead and call this insert function, which is this function that we have created above here, defined above here. So this insert function takes in a row, each row from our data frame, right? Because we're iterating through the whole data frame and picking each row at a time. So passing each row to this in here. That's because that's the input right here. And each row, the different columns are being picked up, and then this process being performed as I explained earlier on. So once we have this, let's try to run this. And yeah, this will now take some time. And then because it's going to insert, okay, we had an error. So that the truth value for series is ambiguous. Use empty boolean, also it says the truth value of series is ambiguous. So let's take a look at this and let's see if you have made any error anywhere. So we're going to go through this in the product category suppliers data frame dot iter rows, and then you're going to say session, right? Because we created we did a session right here. So driver dot session, and then you're going to go ahead and do this right here, and then insert that into. So okay, now I did an error right here. So we need to go ahead and say dot to underscore dict right here. So convert this each row to a dictionary, and then pick the values and then you apply them right here. I forgot to do that. So yeah, so that's all we need to do. So once I have it, let's run this one more time, and hopefully no more errors right here. Okay, so we need to convert this row, each row, to a dictionary. Okay, this is going to take a bit of time, and it's going to go ahead and insert the data into our Neo4j instance. So if I go ahead and click on open, so if I click on open right here, it should open a new window and then show us the dashboard right here. So we should be able to see all the different nodes. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect. We should be able to see the different nodes right here. Okay, so let's just wait for this to connect. Give it a bit of time, and once it's connected, you should be able to see all that nodes in there. So products nodes, suppliers nodes, and the category nodes. So that's what we have done so far. Okay, so let's see if it loads up. Awesome. So you can see the product, the categories, and the supplier. So if I go ahead and click on this, we should be able to see all those. So if I click on one of these, you can see this is a category of prepared meats, and then meats and blah blah. You can see the profile image. So if you zoom in, you scroll in closer, you can see you can see in different stuff right there. So if I double click on this, just double click, or you can go ahead and click on show relationships, and it's going to go ahead and show all the different relationships or the different nodes. So you can see how all these are connected. This is a supplier. The name of the supplier comes from a country called Japan, an ID of 6, the phone number of the supplier, and all that. So now you're going to go ahead and build going to use this information to build a RAG graph on top of this, so you can have basically chat with this. So you can see this is a product. The product should have a name. This is the product name. It says tofu. Okay, that's a product name, and you can see the ID and different stuff right here. You can see also this right here. We have the different stuff information right here. So this is each product is supplied by a given supplier. So you can see this is a supplier, and this is a category, and each product, it is a product, and each product is part of a given category. So each product is part of a given category. So you have the part of instance relationship right there. Awesome. So once this is done, we can actually also write some bunch of queries to be able to cipher query to be able to interact with it. So let's say match, and match is more like select in something like a SQL. So I'm selecting the product category. So I'm selecting the product. So I hope you guys can see this even much closer. So let me just try to zoom in. So yeah. So zoom in right there. So I'm selecting product category, the product node, right? So I'm going to say, and then I'm going to use the word return, and I'm going to simply return n. So that's what I'm going to do. So once I have that, we just click on this play button right here, and it's going to go ahead and execute that code, and you should be able to see all the output from that code. So you can see selected for me all the products. So we have 77 different products right there. So if you click on each product, you can see the relation between each of those products. So you can see we have the product right here. So we have the product called let me just see the product name right here. It's called I don't know what's this. I don't quite pronounce that name, but it's being part of this category, the product category, and it is being supplied by this supplier right here. You can see supply information, right? So yeah, that's basically how you can create that. You can also go and let's search a bunch of queries just to play around with this. So I'm going to select n, which is of type category. So category, and I'm going to go ahead and simply return. I'm going to return C. So I'm going to return to me all the categories. You can also apply a limit, and you can say limit this to a certain value. So limit, maybe limit to 25. Okay, but by default it limits it to 25. So that's basically, so just cut this off and then just say, and then return this right here. I think that should be it. So, oh, I'm probably making a mistake right there, but they also research return command. So let me just say return C, and I want to limit it to 25 or just any value. Okay, so once I have this right here, let me just run this and see if you get any. Yeah, that should return an error right here. So there's a return. I forgot the syntax for this. Okay, that's been a while since I wrote a page of Cypher. Yeah, but basically you can just go ahead and return C right here without the limit close, and that should also work. But if you scroll all the way down here, you should be seeing how the limit close also works. So if you if I go ahead and select on category alone, we should see how the limit close works. So it's you just say return n and then say limit to 25. So return n and then say return C and then say limit. Let's say limited to 25, and let's see what that returns to us. So return n limited to 25, return C limited to 25. You have match n category, and let's say return and then limited 25. So I wonder why. Okay, you have to use the word C. There's why we got an error, because we didn't pass in here C. So we have to store it in this variable called C, and I'm using n. So that n variable doesn't exist. So you can see all these are all the different categories. So if I double click, or you can just click on show relationships, I need to show the relationship of all the different categories. So you can see right here. So this is a category. Let me just scroll a bit up here. So you can see it's a category right here. So you can see that information right here. So you can see this category, and it's part of this product. So this product is part of this category. This product is also part of this category, and you can see all that information right there. So you can also do the same for suppliers, and you can also do the same for any other type. So you can also just select, say, match. You can say R, and R is R is let's say S, and S is going to be suppliers, and then you're going to say return S, and then you're going to limit it to 25 or something like that, and then don't forget a semicolon. So once we have that, you can also execute this query, this cipher, and you can see you have that there. So you just double click to be able to show the relationship. So you can just do this and to show the relationship between the different nodes. So you can see this is a press supplier, and it's he supplies his product. So this is a supplier supplied by this. So this is a product is supplied by this supplier, a product supplied by this supplier, a product supplied by this supplier, right? So you can see all those relationships between the different nodes in there, right? So yeah, let me just zoom in a bit so that you guys can see this much closer, right? So by default, that's how the screen looks like unless you zoom in. So yeah, so that's basically how all these things work, and how you can write the different ciphers to do different stuff, right? So now once you have done this, you have gone through this step right here, right? So read the CSV files, do all this, and then all this part examine, right? So what you've just done is just examine the different stuff that you have just created, different nodes. So now what you're going to left to do right now is to actually do this part right here, right? The left part of our diagram, right? So read the CSV files, and then follow this whole process that you've done, and then till the end. So let's go ahead and jump into doing that. So let's first we need to go ahead and do is read in the CSV files, and then do some pre-processing on those files. Okay, so I'm going to go back in here, and let me just keep a comment in here. So this is going to be, we're going to do this for the order details, shippers, employees, and customers. So we're going to do this for this these categories right here. Okay, so now let's go ahead and simply read into. So I'm going to say order underscore df, and it's going to read the data order df. You're going to go ahead and read the order underscore detail, df, and it's going to read the order details. You're going to do the same thing for customers df. We're going to do the same thing right there. You're going to do the same thing for the shippers as well, so the shippers, and then you're going to do the same thing for the employees as well, so employees, and then run that. Okay, so once you have written all that, now let's go ahead and simply we can just examine this as well. So order underscore df, and then you can do dot head to see what are the different information we have in there. So we have the order details and all that other stuff. So you can do this for all the other remaining tables. Check for NaN values, just like we have done previously, and then do the data merging. So now I'm just going to skip the point we are doing the data merging. Okay, so I'm going to say order underscore order. I'm going to first mask the order and the order details, and you're going to say equals to dot merge pd dot merge. You're going to merge on the category of order details. You're also going to specify how we want to merge this and how we're going to use a left merge, right? So that's basically what you're going to do. So you can just break this down to multiple lines so that you guys can see this much clear. Okay, so that's basically what you're trying to do right here. So you can just bring this right here. So that's basically what you're trying to do, and then just run that cell. That's going to merge it, and if I copy this right here, bring it all the way here, run this, and if I do dot head, and just see the first row, and you can see the information right. So I've merged the orders and the different order details, right? So each order has a particular details associated with it, so that's why I just merge them into. Okay, so you can check for missing values and all that on all the other stuff now, but let me just go ahead and skip on to the merging part. So we're going to merge the customer. So you're going to have the order, and then you're going to add in customer, and it's going to go ahead and merge them. So you're going to merge the order with the customer table, the order and the order details of the customer table on the basis of you're going to use the basis of the customer ID, which is right here. You're going to do a left merge. So once you do that, and just run that, so you're going to also merge that, and you can also check out the head if you want to, and check out for any missing values and all that, right? So I'm just going to skip all that part because you've done the same parts already, so you can just go back and watch how you can do all that parts, right? So I just want to quickly go ahead and show you how to merge all these tables so that I don't really waste your time right here. So I'm going to use orders underscore order details df yeah. So once I have them, I'm going to merge with the shippers, and you're going to simply do the following. So I'm going to merge with the shippers table, and you're going to merge with the shippers, and you're going to merge basically on the shipper vi, which is a common key between the two tables. You're going to do a left merge on these two different tables. So that's what you're going to be doing. So let me just tap this a bit. Okay, let me just leave it like that. So once I have that, so I'm going to merge the customers, the order details and customers table. You're going to merge it with the shippers table via the ship via, and then ship via column, and then we're going to use which is like a primary key of this, which is common between these two tables. These two tables right here, this is common between them, so I'm merging based on that, doing a left merge. So run that, and let's see, it says what? We got an error. It says ship via doesn't exist. Okay, let's see if I made an error right here. So ship via, and then you're doing a left. Okay, okay, I need to specify the following. So I need to do the, I forgot this right here. So I need to left underscore this, and also specify right, and you're going to use ship ID on the right. So that's basically it. So right underscore on. So right, you're going to merge it on the shipper's ID, and left, you're going to merge it on the ship via. You're going to perform a left merge. So that's basically it. So once we run that cell, I'm just going a bit fast because this is just basic Pandas stuff. I don't want to really go into how table merging. This is not like a tutorial on merging tables in Pandas, so I'm just going a bit fast. If you don't understand this, you can always copy the code, put it in ChatGPT, and ask it to explain to you in depth. Okay, so once we have that, I'm going to do order details, shipper details, and I'm going to get the first row, and you can see it right here. We have all this information, and you can scroll and see all the different stuff, right? The ship ID and all that information. Okay, so once we have that done, now I'm going to go ahead. I think we need to perform one more merge, and you're going to go ahead and merge with the employees table, right? So I'm going to say order details, this right here, and I'm going to say employee. It's going to be, you're going to merge again, so merge the tables again, and you're going to specify this information right here. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to take this table which you have merged, you're going to go ahead and merge it with the employees table, right? This one, you're going to merge with the employees tables, and on the left, you're going to do an employee ID on the left, right? And then on the right, you're going to do employee ID as well, and you're going to do a left merge. Okay, So once we have that, I'm going to go ahead and simply run this all, and that's going to perform a merge between those two tables as well. So you can also go ahead and just do employees and then this dot head, and you can just see how that table would merge and how the different information exists in here, right? So you can see the employee information should also be in here, like the employee ID and all those stuff, right? So awesome. So once we have this done, I think that's all we need to do for the merging. So let's check for, let me just say order. Let me just get this one right here. I'm going to do dot shape, and let's see how many columns. So we have 2,155 columns and 48 different rows. 2,155 different rows and 48 different columns. So that's basically. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the following. I'm going to go this. I'm going to say is NA. Check if you have any NA values, so missing values. So you can see we have a lot of missing values right here, right? So now let's just replace the missing values with unknown, right? So that's what we're going to do right here. So I'm going to go ahead and say order employees table dot replace and the pass in a Python dictionary right here. I'm going to use dot replace with NA, and you're going to do in place so that it gets assigned back to this variable in memory, right? So that's what the in place does. So we're just replacing NA missing values with the unknown, and then you're doing the in place, which is going to reassign the result of replacements of this replacement method back to the original variable. That's what replace does. Okay, so once you have that done, you can go ahead and check if you have any missing values. So order employee this, and then we check for any missing values. Let's see, we don't have any missing values. So we have only one missing value reports to. So that's fine. We can fix that just in a second. So let's see what we need to do. So let me just look at the reports to column and see something. It looks a bit strange to me. So I'm going to go ahead and simply get the dot and then say reports to, and then let me just see something in here. There's something. Okay, these are float values in here. Okay, now let's say an employee can report to another employee, right? So these are employee IDs, right? So this should be integers and not float values. So let's try to do some type casting on that. So I'm going to say order this, and I'm going to go ahead and get the order reports to, and I'm going to go ahead and do the following. So I'm going to go ahead and replace it with the reports to. I'm going to not fill an A, but I'm going to go ahead and simply change the type right here. So I'm going to say as type, and I'm going to go ahead and just replace it with an integer. So that's basically so as type, and then we're going to use that with an integer 64 bits. Once we have that done, I'm going to go ahead and simply do the following. So I'm going to say order, and then I'm going to get the employee. Let's see if we get. So now it has been replaced. So previously it was a float value. Now we have replaced the float with an integer value, integer of 64 bits. So that's basically what you have done right here. So good. So once we have that done, now let's go ahead and do the following right here. So we still have missing values in there, right? So now let's replace the missing values with a value of 2. And I have just examined the data, and I just opened the data frame and I examined it, and I realized that all the ones you are missing can be reporting to employee 2, employee with an ID of 2. So I don't want you to go ahead and open the file to show you that, but I have done this already in the background, and I've just examined that all the ones you have missing values are reporting to employee with an ID of 2. Basically, a manager reports to himself, right? So that's why it moves back to himself, because the manager, the big boss, like let's take the CEO. The CEO doesn't report to anyone, right? Let's leave the board out of this. So let's say the CEO doesn't report to anyone, right? So in the data, in the CSV file, the column for the CEO, okay, let's call it the CEO. The column for the CEO has the reports to is blank, so it doesn't report to any employee ID. So now let's say that the CEO reports to himself. That's why I'm going to replace all the parts where we have missing values with an ID with a value of 2, because the employee is basically reporting to himself, right? So that's what I have figured out from examining the data. So let's do that right here. So when say ordered employee details, I'm going to go ahead and get the reports to, and you're going to reports to we're going to say replace. You're going to replace the ones with an ID of 2, just like that. So once we have that done, just run this cell again. So I'm going to go into df order employee details dot is na.sum. Let's check if you have any missing values right here. So we can see we have no missing values here. Previously we're having 24 because the CEO was appearing 24 times, but the CEO was not reporting to anyone. So if they say the CEO reports to himself, like the manager reports to the manager himself, right? So if you draw this in a graph database, we'll see a loop coming back to the employee himself, right? The CEO himself. Okay, so now we have done that. So let's go ahead and do order detail shifts dot columns, and let's see the different columns. So you have all these columns. That's a lot of columns, right? So now that you have done this, let's go ahead and simply do some information right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do the following. So we need to create the different the different employee nodes, but we need to create the node for the CEO first, or the manager first, or it's called the vice president actually. So basically, we need this vice president node to exist before creating other employee nodes, because other employee nodes need to point to the vice president. So if the vice president doesn't exist, then they can't point to anything, right? So we need the vice president node to exist first before any other employee exists, right? Okay, so you can think of it like a company, right? The CEO is the founder, kind of, right? So if the founder was never there, then the company will never be there, and the employees will never be there, kind of thing. So let's just add in here some markdown, and this will be create vice president or CEO, whatever you want to call it, or vice president forward slash U. I don't know how to write forward slash on. Okay, but Linux usually use backslash, so just use a backslash employee first, because other employees need to report to him, or other employee nodes will point to this node. So we need to have this node first. So I'm going to go ahead and say vice underscore president. Vice president is going to be equals to, and then you're going to go ahead and get the vice president is going to be equals to the order blah blah, the order details customer shipper employee data frame. They're getting the title, and the title is going to be equals to the vice president, and just like that, or vice president, just like that. So let me just go ahead and clear this. Let me just call it vice president. So once you have that, you run that cell. Okay, so now once you have done that, you can actually go ahead and examine these data frames if you want to. Okay, that's just to df.head or just this data frame, and then just do it. So just say vice president, and let's see what we get back. So you can see 0 rows. We have 0 rows right here. That's a bit strange. So let's see order details, and then employee details, df. Did I call it df? Okay, just call it like that. And then finally we get the titles, and you're taking the pointer by the title is equals to vice president. Okay, I'm just making sure that we don't have any errors in here. So I'm just dot head, and let's see what we get back. So you have 0. Let me just see dot shape. Okay, 0 rows and 44 columns. That's a bit strange. Okay, let me just look at this one more time, so make sure I don't have any error. So vice president equals to orders, details, detail, customer, shipper. Let me just do just a second. Let me just do the order, this right here, and I'm going to do dot shape, and let's see. So all the information exists. So we are just selecting the one in which the title is equals to the vice president. Okay guys, so upon closer examination, I have found out what the issue was. So I'm actually referring, it's not actually vice president, it's actually vice president, and then sales, just like this. So sales. So if I run this, so sales, and if I run this, you can see you have some information right there, right? So that's what you want to pick up. So if I go right here and I just examine, I open the Excel sheet right here, and you can see it's vice president sales. So I just because this vice president sales column, which is this one right here, it doesn't report to anyone, right? So if you go to reports to not there. So let me just see it right here. Reports to I don't seem to see it right. The reports to column, so region, country, photo, and then let's see after photo, do you have any other column? Yeah, reports to. So you can see it's actually now. This is right here. It's actually now, right? That's why you're replacing this with 2. So a value of a 2. So that the employee, he reports to himself. The vice president reports to himself. That's why it was NA. That's why I've replaced with it 2. So the vice president reports to himself. Okay, and the name right there is actually called vice president of sales, right? That's what you have done right here. Doctor is actually doctor, right? So vice president and then space sales, just like that. And let's run this one more time, and let me run this one more time. Vice president sales. Let me just see. Yeah, that's fine because you have picked up many of those instances. So once we have that, now let's write a cipher query to create this. So the cipher query can be a bit long, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get it from my GitHub page right here, so you don't have to watch me do all that. So just this is a cipher query that we need to use right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy that, and go back in here and then paste in the cipher code. So this is just for to create the manager or the vice president. So it's going to have an employee ID, it's going to have a last name, it's going to have a first name, title, date of birth, hire date, city, phone number, and all that, right? So let's go ahead and actually grab this connection query to be able to execute that command. So let's go here, run this cell, paste this one in here, and you're going to rows dot. So we're going to go through the vice president, we're going to iterate all the rows, and you're going to go ahead and execute that. So run this. So now that should go ahead and create a vice president object for us, because a vice president, there needs to be a vice president for any other employee can exist. So if I go back in here and if I refresh this, we should see a change right here. So you can see we have now the category, employee, product, and then we have the you can see you have the employee category. We have only one employee, who is the vice president, and you can see all his details right. So it's Andrew received blah blah, and you can see all this information right here. In commerce, in 19, he has a PhD. That's why it's called doctor anyway. Okay, so you can see all that information has been inserted in here properly. So now that you have the vice president, now we can have other employees, because other employees will be referring or pointing to this vice president. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to go ahead and grab another cipher query that I have right here, and I'm going to use that cipher query to be able to create the other employee. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this one right here. It's a bit of a long. Okay, I don't know why this is just always annoying to copy. So let me just copy this for now, go back in here, and I can just simply add it in here and go ahead and copy. Let me just see if I can copy. Now it selects everything. This is really annoying. Okay, this is really annoying. I don't know how to copy this. Let me just try to zoom out a bit. Yeah, and then I copy it all the way from here. So that yeah, then let me zoom it back to 100%. Yeah, perfect. So once I have that copied, select all this right here and paste it here to have that executed there. So I don't know, for some reason it's taking longer than necessary. So let me just interrupt this one because we have the data reinserted. I wonder why it's taking so long. So exit this out. Let me just try to, yeah. So we just continue. I'm just going to minimize this for now. I can just clear the cell output. Clear the cell output for now. So once you have that, I'm going to run this. And then we are going to also now create a connection again and then execute that. So we're going to insert all the rest of the remaining employees. So basically you're going to say employee customer, just like this. I'm just going to insert a few. So it's going to be order on the employee, this one right here. I'm going to insert only a few, right? Like 1,000 employees. So let's just reduce this to actually 250 employees, so you don't have to take a lot of time to, because it can take a bit of time to do all those operations. So yeah, I'm just going to keep it simple, and then let's insert all those records right here. So we have this one right here, which is going to go ahead and insert the data. And I've already explained all this whenever we're doing the left side of the table, right? We have already explained how when you're doing this side of the table. Right now we're doing this side, so it's the same process, right? So each row, for each row, when you create, you're going to create the reports to attributes, the includes attributes, the nodes, okay, and there's also labels. We're going to say that each employee reports to manager, and manager, we're going to go ahead and select the manager if the manager exists. So this is going to help us create the different orders, and you're going to use the order to another process right here, and then create a match between those different stuff, right? So you also have the customers right here. Each customer has a name, by applying all the information. Then you're going to go also have a shipper, and the shipper has a shipper ID, a company, and then a phone. And then you're also going to go take the employee. Each employee has all this information, right? Employees are E. So, and then from there, we're going to go ahead and we are going to use the match statement right here. So we're going to select an employee. We're going to select an employee called M, who reports to. So employee ID means reports to, just like that. The ID of the employee. So if I go back in here, we have an employee ID. So if I go back to in here, we have an employee ID. So this is the employee ID. So I'm just saying that if the employee ID, if I go back in here, so I just basically saying that if I go all the way to reports to, I'm just trying to find that column. wherever it exists, reports to. Yeah, reports to right here. So just saying that all the employees report to basically the manager in this case, right? So basically, we are finding the manager, we are finding the employee who another employee relates to. So we're finding them right here, and then you're merging them, and then after that, you're creating an each employee reports to their manager, which you picked up from here, based on who they reports to, and then you also have the merge. You're merging the each order includes a given product, each order ordered by a given customer, each order shipped by a given shipper, each order processed by a given employee. So that's basically what you're trying to do right here. Okay, it's a bit of a long of a cipher code, but basically just pause the video, read through it. It's really very fairly easy to understand. Okay, if you have any issues, maybe you can let me know. Maybe you can create a different course on cipher, basically, if you want to, or you can just paste this in ChatGPT and ask it to explain it to you in much detail. So once you have that, you're going to create the session and then execute the command right here to insert all those details in. Okay, so we just wait for those details to get inserted in there. So if you go back in here, if you refresh this, you should be able to see something else should change. You can see you have the shippers information. So now we have only the 3 shippers have been inserted so far. Yeah, so you can see this this is an order. So this order was shipped by this shipper. This order was shipped by this shipper. So if I zoom in again, so this order was shipped by this shipper. So this is an order. Which product was it ordering? So if you look here, you can see the order ID. You can see, if I can see which product did this order include, ship region, ship date, and then I see all that. Yeah, so ship country, order date, region, unknown. Yeah, so that's basically the information about different orders, right? Yeah, awesome. So and these are different information about different orders, the different shippers and stuff. So this data is still being inserted. So if you continue refreshing, you should be able to see more and more nodes come in as time goes by, right? So you can see if I refresh each time, you're getting more and more nodes coming in, right? So you just need to give it a bit of time and wait for all these records to, yeah. So just give it a bit of time and wait for all those records to get inserted, and then you can do different queries. You can write different queries to examine the different information and all that. So if I go ahead and show relationship, it's going to go ahead and show me the different relationships. For some reason it's not showing. Yeah, so you can see the different information right here. Yeah, so once I show this, you can see you have the different relationships right here. So these records are still being inserted. So let's check if it has been completed. So yeah, you have all the records that have been inserted. So if I refresh this, you should see this value up here change to, yeah, awesome. So you have these different records being inserted. You have a total of 1,116 relationships being created. And you can see how you can insert all that data in there. So yeah, let's just write a bit of queries just to see just a bit of cipher, right? So let's write this. So and say March, and I'm going to say March E. You're going to get each employee, and you're going to simply say return E, and then you're going to limit it to maybe 20, the first 29 employees. And if I execute this, we should get all the first 29 employees back. So these are the different. So we have less than 29, and there are 29 different employees. Or you can just go ahead and simply just select all the employees and return all the different employees if you want to. That's also fine. So if you select all the employees and then just run that query. Okay, so now if I go ahead and simply say show relationships, now we can, this is what I wanted to show you. So remember we created the vice president first, right? Since the vice president reports to no one, if you look in here, the vice president reports to no one right here, right? That's why we say that the vice president reports to himself, and that's why you created the vice president first. And you can see the loop right here, reports to the vice president, reports to himself, a loop back, right? So you can see that the information right here. So we have the different employees. This employee works in sales. His name is let's see if you can check the name of the employee. His name is Peacock. Okay, so that's his name, Peacock. And Peacock works in a sales representative and reports to the vice president. Also have another employee right here, sales manager, and all these other employees, sales representatives, all of them reports to the sales manager, and the sales manager reports to the vice president, and the vice president reports to himself, and inside sales coordinator reports to himself, and his name is Callahan, and Callahan reports to the vice president. This guy also reports to the vice president, reports to the vice president, reports to the vice president, right? So you can see how all that structure within the organization works, right? So using a GraphRAG Application, you can see how you can really visualize information in great details and make it really easy to understand. Yeah, so basically you can write different ciphers to do different things, right? So we can return an employee. So let's try to return everything. So let me just give this uppercase. It's not a must, but let's say n. And you're going to just simply return. So it is return n, and you're going to limit this to, let's say 29, or let's say, yeah, 20 is fine. And let's run this and let's see. So we're going to return all categories because we didn't specify any category. It's going to return all categories, and you can go ahead and view the relation between all these, right? So yeah, that's basically it. So you can have suppliers, different information right there. So you can make this number bigger in case you want to see a bigger relationship. Let's say 60, and let's run this. Okay, so now you can go ahead and view all the relationships between all the different things right there. You can see the different relationships right here, right? So yeah, so you have the category, products and suppliers, and you can see how all these informations are related, right? So yeah, that's basically how you can take a CSV file, read the CSV file into a Python data frame, and then being able to merge the different, do the data pre-processing, and then connect to Neo4j, writing cipher, and then inserting the data into the Neo4j knowledge graph, right, as you have done right here. So that's all I wanted to cover in this video. So in the next video, we're going to go ahead and actually build the RAG application on top of this one. So we're going to use Neo4j. I was about to say Next.js, but you're going to be using Neo4j for this. And you're going to be using LangChain for this. Okay, so my bad. You're going to use LangChain to create the RAG GraphRAG on top of the graph database that you've just created. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video. And if you like this video so much, one of the easiest you can support the channel is by liking the video, subscribing to the YouTube channel, share this video with your friends and other guys out there who you know might be interested in such content. Yeah, so I also have articles for different things like this. So you can find me on Medium, where I write articles for those of you like reading. You can find me at Prince Cramper on Medium. On YouTube, hopefully while you're watching this video, at Code with Prince, or you can follow me on at Twitter, aka X, at Prince_Cramper, or you can follow me on LinkedIn at Prince Cramper. So if you have any urgent messages, you have any ideas, you want consultation, like building a project that you're trying to build, but you're having issues, you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn at Prince Cramper. I'm much faster to reply to you there over more than emails. Okay, so just reach out to me on LinkedIn at Prince Cramper, or you can reach out to me on X at Prince Cramper. I'm much faster to reply to you, mostly on LinkedIn. So guys, thank you guys for watching so much, and see you in the next video. Again, don't forget to like this, drop me a comment on how the video is, whether you like the video, the formatting and all that. Thank you guys. All of you have given me comments in the past. This has helped to improve the content, so thank you guys so much. I know the content is not still perfect, but if you have any suggestions, recommendations, leave it in the comment section below. I'll do my best to improve on that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and see you in the next video. Keep safe.